Um, Good day, students. Welcome to lesson number 3. And in this lesson, we're going to talk about the people and transport in the urban areas. So basically, we're just going to look at the transport systems that the people use in the urban areas. Okay, it's a very easy topic. I think we all know what we're going to be talking about. All right. So there's a lot of different transport that you can choose from. Okay. So we're gonna look at the public transport systems. Okay. So you look at the railway roads. Okay. Okay. So South Africa's roads, especially in large cities, are becoming increasingly congested with the gridlock. Okay, so there's so many cars. I think you can see it in the mornings, especially if you're driving towards a town, because a lot of people will be going to the workplaces, and then also a lot of students as well will be going to school. Okay, so in the rush hour, there's going to be traffic congestions. So commuters sometimes spend hours getting to and from work each day because there is too much traffic congestion. So the cause of this is the lack of an efficient, safe public transport system in our cities, meaning that there is a lot of people that drive cars instead of being able to use the buses or the trains. Okay, many people can be carried in buses and trains than in a private car. That is why there's so many traffic congestions. If a lot of people can choose to take a bus, then it means that there's going to be less cars on the roads, okay? And then a lot of people are going to be in the buses, so there's going to be less traffic congestions, all right? And then also many people can be carried by trains. Look at London, the underground tube system that carries over 1 billion passengers a year. Look at the New York subway that carries over 1.5 billion people, all right? So the municipal and rail authorities are trying to introduce more efficient systems of moving the commuters from home to work and back again quickly. But with South African um, rail networks, it is a problem because they don't have the facilities at the moment. Okay, a lot of the trains that used to carry or ferry people to the workplaces are down at the moment. So people choose to have either the commuters if they can't afford to take if they can't afford to, to have their own car, all right. So there's going to be traffic congestions, all right, all right. So large cities now have buses only lanes, okay, that will allow a lot of people to travel fast, okay. And then this speeds up bus transport systems because a lot of people are being carried to wherever they're going, all right. Look at the Gau train, okay, from OR Tambo to Sandton. It is fast and then can carry a lot of people, but it is very expensive. And then the doubtful that the country could afford similar systems elsewhere. Okay, okay. So congestion means a street that is so overcrowded with traffic that movement is difficult. A gridlock is a traffic jam that affects a large area so that the traffic is unable to move in any direction. A commuter is somebody who regularly travels from some distance between home and work. A subsidy is a gift or a grant of money from a government to private company or organization to help it function. Okay, so what are the modes of transport such as minibuses, cars, and bicycles that people usually use in the urban areas? So a lot of people can't afford to have their own cars, so they usually take the minibus taxi. All right, and today the most important part of our public transport sector. Not only in the most available mode of transport, but it is also the most affordable to the public because a lot of people don't have the money to have their own cars. Okay. Okay, now let's look at the facts and numbers in the minibus taxi industries. So taxis are the most popular mode of transport in urban areas for the majority of South African population. Okay, those are facts. Okay, the South African taxi industry plays an important role in the economy, considering that majority of South Africans are poor and dependent on the public transport. And then the transport by taxis account for about 65% of the public transport total. All right, so you can see that the minibus taxis ferry a lot of our population. You can see that 65%. All right, and then 20% is by buses, and then 15% is by rail. All right. Then the industry consists of approximately 150,000 public mini taxis. All right. The South African industry also is estimated to have a turnover of more than 16.5 billion per year. Okay. And then the minibus taxi industry in South Africa is comprised of more than 20,000 owners and 200,000 employees. Those are facts that you should know. Okay, I think you have seen it from everywhere we go or everywhere we live. Okay, now let's look at the private car. All right. So mainly the private car is the main cause of congestion because it cannot be able to carry a lot of people at the same time. All right, right, and then there's no effective alternative for it. All right. So for any South African, unlike in some parts of the world, the car is a necessity and not a luxury. Okay, right? So to South Africans, mostly it is a necessity. All right. So millions of people live in cities such as London, New York, Paris, Tokyo without needing a car. All right, because a rapid public transport is there. All right. So when you talk about rapid public transport, we're talking about transport that is able to ferry you from one place to the other in the most effective and quick and safe way as well. All right. So to own a car in Tokyo, you have to show proof of parking space. All right. So they can't allow you to buy a car if you don't have any parking space, which is not easy because the country already is overcrowded. Okay. Bicycles, right, as a method of transport, have many advantages and disadvantages. So the advantages is they don't pollute anything, they occupy very little space, and they are cheap and healthy to operate because you are also exercising at the same time when you're riding a bicycle. Right, it's cheap, doesn't take so much space, and then also it doesn't pollute. However, the disadvantages is very slow over long distances. You're more likely to be involved in an accident with a carless car, with a careless car or minibus drivers, and it doesn't provide any protection when it's raining. So let me repeat the disadvantages. It's very slow over long distances. Okay, you can be hit by a car or by a minibus taxi. All right, on the road. You don't have any protection when it's raining or from bad weather when it's windy. All right. So some cities have bicycle lanes to reduce possibilities of accidents, as shown in the picture. So only cyclists are allowed to be in that lane. Okay. So now let's look at the transport issues, such as for commuters, traffic congestion, and pollution. All right. The cost, unless if you're fortunate enough to be able to walk to work, school, or entertainment, you're going to have to pay a lot of money in public transport. And then now the public transport is very expensive because of the fuel costs that have gone up. Okay. All right. Now let's look at the traffic congestions. Okay. So on average, Americans spend about 40 hours a week stuck in traffic jams. So the cost of traffic congestion hit a total of about 87.2 billion or 600 billion rands, all right, which is in wasted fuel because you'll be traveling in low gears, and then low gears tend to use a lot of fuel. Okay, those are the problems associated with the traffic congestions, all right. And then in South Africa, it is estimated to cost businesses 15 million per hour of lost productivity because you are stuck in traffic congestions. You're going to be late for work, going to be late for school, all right? Especially people that are going to work, they're going to be stuck in traffic, right? Instead of them being on time at work, they might lose maybe 30 minutes of their time, and then that is money. If you're late for work, you're costing the company money. Okay, let's look at the pollution. All right, so we know that our cars, they use petrol or your diesel, and then they produce traffic films. Okay, and then that causes air pollution. However, there are more vehicles on the road and the numbers continues to grow. So your cars, buses, and trucks are one of the largest sources of air pollution in cities today. So the city's traffic is also a source of noise pollution, which can also seriously affect human health. Okay. So what are the ways that the cities are trying to prevent your traffic jams. Okay, so these are the ways that they will try and do that they are doing now. All right, they're trying your bus rapid transport systems. Okay, those are via buses. Okay, the bus rapid transport systems. All right. All right, that was introduced in when South Africa hosted the 2010 FIFA World Cup, and then the good thing about it is a bus like that can carry a lot of people, and then it has its own separate lane. Okay, and then that will reduce. Um, and it's cheap as well and affordable, so you're not gonna lose money by using the bus rapid system. Your my city buses. Okay, in Nigeria, travel in Lagos is so many years main traffic congestion. Right, and then the recent introduction of the bus rapid transit system is sought to improve transport there. Uh, your subsidized public transport, right? So few modern public transport systems can operate at a profit, and then the government has to intervene by giving them subsidies. Okay, so a subsidy is money that comes from government to try and help out whatever business that is happening there. All right. Even in London, the British government has given the underground rail system known as the Tube 50 billion for development. Okay, because if it was going to be a private company or a private person, it was going to be uh, expensive for them. So the government will help because obviously in the long run, there's going to be a reduction of traffic congestions. Okay, right. With government in South Africa, they introduced the Gautrain, but still it is a bit very expensive for a lot of people. Okay, they are via bus. Okay, your bus and bicycle lanes were introduced so that a lot of people can prefer to take the buses because they're going to be cheap and then they're going to be quick. If you're going to be riding your bicycle, you're going to have your own bicycle lane, and then they're going to be safe, a little bit quicker, if it's especially for short distances. But for long distances, it's going to be painful and hard. Your park and ride, um, in other countries especially, you park a car, all right? Your park and ride is another scheme to beat traffic congestions. So the car won't belong to you; it will belong to the government. Okay. So, but you have to pay for you to get that ride. So, park and ride facilities are car parks with connections to public transport that allow commuters and other people wishing to travel into city centers to leave their vehicles and transfer to a bus or rail systems for the rest of the trip. So, you get your private car, you park it maybe out of a town, and then there is um, a public transport. Okay, that is a bus. All right. So their own vehicle is parked in a car park during the day, and many car parks were built especially in the Soccer World Cup. So the most large cities in the world have park and ride facilities, and they're often used for big sporting events to allow fast and easy access to sports stadiums. Okay, you park your car, get into public transport, and they need to drop you at the stadium that you want to go. And then once the game is done, you take the bus back to the car park where you left your vehicle, and then you go back to wherever you're going, wherever you came from. All right. And then the introduction of car-free zones by the government is to try and prevent a lot of cars in some areas. Okay. So many cities have parts of the central areas where no cars are allowed. All right. This is done to avoid traffic congestions and to make shopping safer and more pleasant. In Cape Town, St. George's Street and Green Market Squares are traffic free, so cars are not allowed in those areas. Okay. All right. So we have come to the end of lesson 3, guys. Okay. Hopefully you understand everything on your own, and then when you get into class, it's going to be easy for us to go through. All right.